Did you ever experience moments where you feel like something really bad is happening to you and you don't know, your body is giving you signs, you feel strange pains, or you feel completely out of sync all of a sudden, and you have no idea why you're feeling that way? You're doing everything right, you're eating the right way, you are grounding yourself, you feel like you're raising your frequency, but something is out of tune, and there is no apparent reason, but you have reason to believe that something is wrong with you. That is a common symptom of ascension, and maybe you've heard about this before. And I just want to reiterate that ascension means that you are growing, that you are expanding your awareness, and that you are becoming more of what you already are. In moments where we are growing, there is times that we need to shed certain things, things that we needed and that were good for us at a given time, or things that we used to need in order to protect ourselves. Whatever it was, right now we don't need it anymore. But sometimes recognizing that, sometimes getting to the conclusion that there are things that we need to shed is not easy. And in order to get there, we need to go through a process. And going through that process sometimes may be painful, because let's let's put it this way. We have in the whole of us our four bodies. We have our physical body, we have our mental body, we have our emotional body, and we have our spiritual body. Together, it's what makes us a whole, the unification of everything. Like you probably have ever heard, sane mind in a sane body, and I would say that we need to expand that to a sane mind in a sane body with sane emotions and a sane spiritual health. Everything is important. When one of those is out of balance, or more of them, or they are all finding their balance in order to fit together, there are moments of tension for us, because when we raise our frequencies, or we heal from traumas, or we are in the process of, there are a lot of emotions that come forward. There is a lot of memories, and sometimes memories even from other lives, things that we can't always identify, but we feel very deeply. And all of that is starting to try to get in sync with the rest of you. Imagine that you went through some traumas in your life, and fortunately you are giving attention to that, and you are able to heal from it. And there will be signs in our physical body. Sometimes when certain memories come along, you feel tension in some parts of your body, and then you decide to, okay, I am aware that this is because I am healing from this trauma. And then what happens is that your body and your spirit, they are trying to find the right tuning, the fine tuning of the coexistence. And your mind is also plays a huge part into this, that is allowing you to reframe the things that happen in a different way, so you can use all of these memories and all of this new information in a different way, or I should say this old information in a new way. So there is a fine tuning happening between all of this layers of us. Physically, we will have to release the tension that we accumulate, because when we suffer through trauma and we store it in our minds, we also store it in our body, because everything is connected. All of our bodies work in perfect sync. And every time something happens, that sync comes out of tune. And then that's when we experience tension in our body, certain pain. Sometimes we get sick. And for example, when we are ignoring certain emotions, that is also taking our emotional body out of sync with our mind and with our physical body and even with our spiritual body. Most of the times, even before we start in this spiritual awakening process, we don't even think that we have a spiritual body. That is our essence, that's who we are, that is where our creativity, our thoughts, or everything comes from. It feeds us. It's who we are. That little part of us that sometimes is hard to explain. That makes the whole of who we are, or that makes who we are, and we totally ignore that. That means that we are living out of sync. Because if you ignore one of your bodies or more, that will always mean that you are leaving behind or abandoning a part of yourself. So when we start in this journey of healing, our spiritual body starts getting the attention that it needs, and then starts helping us to deal with the rest of our other bodies. But like I said, and like this is the point that I want to make very clear here, is that it needs to be a sync of those four bodies. And in order to do that, we need to first and foremost be aware of what's happening with us. We need to allow whatever is happening. We need to allow ourselves to feel tension in our body and to identify it. We need to allow ourselves to experience our emotions. To We need to give our mind the guidance it needs, feed it what it needs in order to grow. Sometimes it's therapy, sometimes we need to find moments to ground ourselves in order to give our mind some rest. There's a lot of practice that can help with this. We can journal, write about our worries, and we can meditate in order to find that place of stillness, listen to some music, dancing, anything that allows your mind to get a break. And then we also need to allow ourselves to be our spiritual selves. To and how do you know what that is? It's when your intuition starts talking to you too. When you have this gut feeling that something is happening, you need to allow that to happen. And yes, all of us, we all have an intuition, even if we don't believe that sometimes, because we are so used to only listen to our minds. And we even at times forget that we also have an intuition, that we also have a spiritual mind that sometimes wants to connect to us. And when we start giving our mind a little bit of rest, our spirit has the chance to send us some messages. And then that's when we call it the spiritual awakening starts happening. Even after we went through this, we can go through phases like this in different moments. Every time a layer of our traumas or a layer of our journey gets to be find out and gets to be dealt with, we experience dissonance between our four bodies, because every little piece of information needs to find its place. So let me give you some tips, things that work for me when I feel like this. And let me share with you, I had moments in my life that I experienced things like that. There was a totally dissonance within me. What my body was telling me was not what my mind was going through. I felt like I was, for example, in a very good phase of my healing, of my spiritual growth, but my body seemed to be having all of these pains, all of these sensations. I had a hard time sleeping. When I slept, I had nightmares, and I didn't understand what it was happening. What was happening to me, especially, was that I needed to find coherence between all my energetic bodies. I needed to help my body understand where my spirit was, and to fine tune the frequency where they were operating. Because imagine you are ascending your spirit into the fourth or the fifth dimension, but you cannot let your body behind. You need to take care of yourself. Maybe you need to eat better. Maybe you need to change some habits in order to enjoy whatever ascension you are going through. I had times where my emotions and my mental space were in total dissonance, because I was feeling in my mind, I knew where I was in my progress, but my feelings, my emotions were fighting it, because I was still in the old process, and I needed to bring them together, and I needed to find the coherence. How did I find that? One of the most well known ways to do that is meditation. And I'm not telling you, oh, you have to sit here and sing ohms all day. That's If that's not meditation for you, you don't have to do it this way. But you can, for example, go for a walk wherever you feel safe and whatever you feel like you can be yourself. And then just be with your thoughts. And when they start getting really aroused, just take a deep breath and then calm yourself down. Allow yourself to find a place where your system, your nervous system, feels at ease. And then, if your nervous system feels at ease, you are going to feel safer. And then I would say that as the next step is that you can sit and you can just be with yourself in stillness. And the only way to find the coherence back is to sit in stillness. Because if we keep talking, we can't hear whatever our energetic bodies are telling us. But if we stop and listen to ourselves, if we give ourselves a moment of stillness, 5 minutes of your day, where you sit, just close your eyes and say, you know what, I'm taking a break. And in those moments, I promise you, you are going to have the biggest breakthroughs that you have ever had in your life. It's when you sit with yourself, because imagine you've been in an amazing coaching session and you loved all the advice that you got, and you had your own breakthroughs during that. But then you come home and there is that high of emotions. Your spirit is amazing. Your emotions and your spirit, they find a coherence. You feel that excitement, but your mind also needs time to place everything that's happened and to tell your body that from now on you are safe. So by sitting still and allowing things to integrate, this is the way that we can get the coherence in our four energetic bodies. For me, meditation was really a huge way to do this. I also found some comfort into reading and looking for information that vibrated with where I was at that moment. And that helped me really dive deep and to find the right frequency, because the things that you are feeding your mind are also affecting your spirit. So if you are watching certain shows or reading certain books that make you feel nervous or discomfort or anything, then you are not allowing um, for that coherence to find its place, because everything is going to vibrate in different ways. And so what we feed ourselves with information, even social media, what you're looking into, and everything is very important. So monitor what you're consuming. That worked wonders for me and really, really helped me, because sometimes the answers we need to the questions we have, they are given to us in moments when we are really not expecting it. And by tuning yourself, tuning your frequency, the frequency of the things you're consuming to your frequency from where you are and where you want to be, will help the universe find the space to bring you the right messages. Another thing that helped me really, really was to journal about the things that I was feeling in my body, for example, and what I would think about the things that I was feeling, what did I thought that was connected to, and describe how I was feeling, and then after a while go read back. And you know, putting things into paper sometimes helps to get a little bit of perspective. And sometimes when you put certain thoughts into the paper, you understand that maybe what you're thinking is not really what you're feeling. And that brings clarity, and that brings you to a space where you can have your own breakthroughs in the right moments. And the last thing I would say, it's one of the hardest things for me, especially, but I don't know, maybe for you too, is to allow things to happen in the time that they need to happen, and not stress about if it's happening too fast or not. That was the hardest part for me, to allow things to happen, but really try to find a way to let go of the outcome of whatever it is. And in the moment that we start allowing things to happen, that's when our bodies start to sync together, because you are giving space to everything that is happening. And when you do that, that's when you find your true self. When you give yourself a voice, you give yourself a chance to really, really dive deep into your own emotions, into your own feelings. And that is the beautiful part about stillness and allowance, and just doing a real, really good effort to respect yourself and the time you need to do the things that are necessary in order to find synchronicity within your energetic body. And once you find it, then all of that pain, those strange feelings, and everything that you know that you can achieve is going to start coming to you, or is going to just cease to exist, because that only comes out of dissonance. And when you are back into total synchronicity, then you will feel in tune. You know, it's like when you have like a band and one of the instruments is out of tune, and even if it's playing the same melody, is always going to sound strange. But if they all stop playing, identify the instrument that is not playing the right tune, or playing in the right tune, and they tune it together, then the music is going to be beautiful again. If you feel like sometimes it's hard for you to understand what's going on with you, you feel out of tune, you feel like something is wrong, but you can identify what it is, don't hesitate to reach out. I will leave my contacts in the description down below. I am giving coaching sessions for exactly self-discovery, dealing with your emotions, with maybe finding your own path towards the situations that are giving you trouble, but that you can't really identify. I am here for you. Share in the comments if you've been through something like this, and what were the things that worked for you. And as always, my friend, have a wonderful day and welcome home. Mwah.